Last week, I had a doctor bring me a supplement asking me what I thought of it because a lot of her patients were asking her about this. And I thought I would take this opportunity to add this to our by request playlist to review what I look for in a label and why I would choose something or not choose something. And I don't want to pick on any company in particular, but this gave a good example for us to kind of point out some of the things that you may want to look for when you're looking at a label. So let's take a look at this what they sent us. And first of all, this is for a company that said it was made on the goal of creating the highest quality multivitamin available. Most vitamins on the market are made with cheap, inactive forms of vitamins that aren't able to be utilized by one's body. I do agree with that. And I do think that in some cases, they're doing a decent job with this product in particular. But unfortunately, I feel like they fell short in a few ways. They do point out, though, that they're also filled with fillers and binders, and these speed up the vitamin production, bringing the cost down, but the result is a low quality end product. And again, I agree with that. There are a lot of products on the market that are just filled with cheap things, and a good portion of them are I wouldn't touch personally. And so let me explain to you what I like about this one and what I find as limits on this. So this is one that they market as for all. First of all, what I like about it is it does have a little bit of everything, almost. And it even includes things like citicoline, which is a choline form that has been shown to be very helpful. I like that they're using bamboo extract. I think bamboo could be used a lot more. They're citing it for silica, but there's some other elements if it's a good source. They're actually putting in benfotiamine, which is something you're not seeing a lot these days. It is a form of vitamin B that I think a lot of people would benefit from having. So they're also using P5P as their B6. So they are using some active forms. But now this is where I actually get concerned in people using too many active forms. Now I'm a little bit different in how a lot of people are going to talk about this, so bear with me. My concern is taking a methylated folate too much can cause an imbalance in the body. I talked about this a lot in many different ways, but I get concerned about people taking this long term. So again, if somebody's looking to supplement and they're intending to take 2 capsules of these every day, I wouldn't want anybody taking this for more than a couple of months. And I definitely wouldn't want somebody taking all of this unless we truly identified that they have a really big need for things like this methylated folate, as well as a big need for so much copper. I find copper in supplements can be a real concern. In fact, because the book that I cite many times in mental health, this is the Nutrient Power book. He talks very clearly about how a very large percentage of the individuals he found, over 30,000 patients that struggled with depression, it was a copper toxicity. Now, we want to get it from food. We do need some of it. But if you're eating foods that have copper and you're putting that much copper in there, that could be concerning for me, especially for females, because it was the largest portion of the population that struggled with that were female. So again, I'm not sure that I would qualify this as something that I would give people long term. Now you'll notice that they're using all of these simple forms also: picolinate, zinc picolinate, chromium picolinate. Now I prefer a whole food form of chromium for many reasons. When you get things in a whole food form, you get much greater value and actually superior utilization. This is why I want to start with food. Also using boron picolinate. I like to have triple boron. I like to have, again, whole food sources of boron because, again, it's going to be superior. They have magnesium malate. That's a single form. Anytime you push a single form of any magnesium too much, you do risk getting that bowel tolerance. Now, that's just a very small amount. But again, I prefer to get it from food because you'll get multiple forms. And when you get multiple forms of things, your body just has a superior utilization of that. Again, a lot of these are synthetics, and you'll start to see these very high percentages like 12,500% of methylcobalamin and 1,667% of biotin. When you get these things from whole foods, it's already balanced. And I've seen a lot of people come in with blood work that have insanely high B12 because they're drinking a drink that has B12 in it. They're taking supplements that have B12 in it. So when I start to see high levels of B12 like that, I start to get a little concerned. Remember, supplementation is actually supposed to supplement your diet. You really should be getting most of this from the foods you're eating. And I'm always trying to make sure that people are eating as many foods as possible that are going to supply a lot of this. You don't want to make up for an entire meal or your entire diet with one supplement, because you're going to start to have some issues in the fact that you're going to be pushing things too high. One other thing I want to point out in here, for example, they use for vitamin E, D-alpha tocopherol is cited. Now, this is something that a lot of people don't realize, that this is one part of an 8-part nutritional component that would happen in nature. There's actually alpha, beta, delta, and gamma tocopherols and alpha, beta, delta, gamma tocotrienols. So when you bring in just one piece, you really run the risk of throwing things out of balance. So I applaud their efforts in putting in some active components of these things. And maybe in the short term, this might be something for help somebody kind of snap to. But in the long term, I definitely wouldn't want somebody to be taking this for a while, because you really do risk throwing things out of balance. I would look at their diet. I'd look at the individual very clearly before I suggested that somebody take something like this. There's a lot more I can go into this. So if you guys have any questions specifically about this, and I can kind of break it down, I just want to encourage you all to remember, you should be getting most of your nutrition from food, if at all possible. And identifying the gaps is what you really need help with. That's the only time you should be using supplementation. And that supplementation should come from a whole food source, so you don't run the risk of getting things so out of balance with these high percentages of things that are a synthetic isolated component of it. Again, I know what they're trying to do here and there. They're moving in the right direction, but not in a way that I would feel safe suggesting that somebody take this personally in a long-term basis. And I'm always thinking long-term when it comes to supplementation. So anytime you have any questions about products, if I have time, I'm going to try to break them down. I don't want to, pick on anybody, but I do want to make sure that we're thinking about these things in a way that are long-term, where we're making sure that we are enjoying longevity when we're looking at nutrition, and not just something that is kind of filling out a who's list of what's supposed to be on the label without really understanding the individual. Okay, thanks for watching. If you have other products or questions, let me know. And when I can, I will make sure that I get on here by request and look at all of them. Have a good one.